And happy Friday, PSWs and friends across Ontario and Canada. We are back again, yet with PSW Podcast. My name is Miranda Lamanovic. I'm the CEO of the Ontario PSW Association and host of PSW Cup Podcast, where yet again I am joined by my co-host and our Chief Operating Officer, Ian De Silva, of both the OPSWA and the CANSWA. And we're here today to talk about autism and the PSW. And there's a whole lot to this conversation, isn't there, Ian?
Yes. Let's dive right in. Start right in the beginning. So
Dive right in. So there was an article. So go ahead.
I'll introduce quickly. So a few weeks ago, there was an article on the CBC discussing about regarding a massive shortage of workers for the autistic community, especially for youth. These are individuals who have been on a wait list for a number of years looking for supports in all sorts of a range of services. Which we might be able to offer some supports with. So there's a
Yes.
massive shortage. We have a large population of people that need these supports, but there's not enough therapists and workers to support them all. So what do we do?
So what do we do? So just to give a bit of background, as many of you guys know, the OPSWA does have a division of our association called the Mental Health Community Support, where we do run free support groups for young adults and adults on the autism spectrum every single week. And it's run by our great friend Natasha Bell from Journey Center of Gray, where she supports individuals every single day through the week at her center. We're in Meaford. She's
Meaford,
in
yeah,
Meaford.
Meaford, Ontario.
And so the MHCS was created because of this huge kind of divide. There was a divide. There was this huge kind of cavern where there was no supports for individuals 18 plus. But of course, we're also now seeing no supports from 0 to 18, which is extremely interesting. So we started teaching the autism program, or the autism course, shall I say, many, many moons ago. And the reason for that is because I have a son who is 21 years old and he is on the autism spectrum. Some of you guys might know him. His name's Catcher. And we've dealt with a lot of mental health issues with him. And the interesting part was years ago when I was Googling, who works with, individuals on the autism spectrum and who can teach them life skills and help them, kind of get used to regular life. And what popped up was the personal support worker, which I thought was really interesting. I
Yes.
really did.
And and just so we can clarify our conversation. So we're splitting the supports that are traditionally offered are offered through specific therapists, BSO. What are they called? BSO therapists or
Well, now
AP?
BSO, they're either ABA, IBI, speech
And
therapists, you
and
name it.
we're not doing exactly that. What we're trying to do is offer a different type of approach to this service to offer these a route for the adults and all age groups essentially. So I think that's where we want to make sure we think we see an opportunity.
Oh, hugely. I mean, right now I have one of our PSWs actually who works with my son.
Yeah.
He's currently with her, and she does a phenomenal job with him. And I see a real kind of, it's a different sort of approach to autism care, but it's a very promising approach. And might I add, an affordable approach to care for
Yeah.
those on the autism spectrum. Because we see a lot, like I remember when my son was little and we were trying to source out supports, and we were looking at paying $150 an hour. I don't know anybody that can afford $150 an hour.
No, but in the defense of the people that are offer that have to charge that, they are doing lots of training. It is a very specialized field, so they do have to do some robust education.
Yeah.
It's just like even dealing with any healthcare thing, there's a point where that education becomes unaffordable to the average person. And
And
then
you know what? In order to deal with
yeah,
any sort of mental health, to deal with autism, it takes a village, right?
yeah,
It takes a village to care for these individuals. They have a lot of behavioral issues. And, one of the main things that PSWs are really good at is behavioral issues.
yes,
And so, through all of this, and because of demand on the front line for autism services from PSWs, and from what we hear from our members or when I go live on TikTok, is a lot of you guys continuously say, I can't find work as a PSW.
you hear this a lot, yes.
We hear it all the
Yeah,
time.
but
But then
yes.
when we say, well, where do you want to work? Where are you looking? What do they say, Ian?
Long-term care or hospitals.
Yeah.
We get it. We get
Yeah. We get it. However, there's a lot of competition to get work in long-term care or hospitals.
oh, yes.
And your expertise as PSWs, no matter what your school told you, is not just geriatric.
Exactly. It is not just geriatric. It is a spectrum of ages and cares. care cases that you deal with. It makes no sense why we keep going back to the geriatric, which is the largest population currently, but that they serve it, that they provide supports for. So
Well, like I always say, PSWs take care of anyone from zero, because we have the perinatal support workers, from zero all the way to 150. But then I say after 150, they're on their own. We don't care for them after that age.
oh,
But that's just too much, too
you
much.
win at 150, in my opinion. Okay, you've won. You've won the game of life, and you're on your own. But uh,
Exactly.
I think I think it's really important. I think that we don't pay enough attention to the possibility of care that people can offer from the PSW. People don't look to the PSW necessarily as an opportunity to provide this care. So, as your association, we think it's best to start setting up a pathway to enable those people who are looking for work to try this. So let's talk about what we're trying to do as your association.
Yes. So what we have done is, because we're your association, we can deem designations for personal support workers. And so we are actually coming out with a new designation for the personal support worker called the Community Autism Community Support Provider. And what this will enable you to do is to support individuals in the community with that are dealing with having autism and they require extra supports. There's 3 courses that you will have to complete through the OPSWA, which is Mastering Autism Care, Mental Health, and the De-escalation course. Once you have all 3 of these courses underneath your belt, then you can use that formal designation with the support of your association when you go out there and try to obtain employment as a PSW. So this we are actually going to be looking at bundling these 3 courses into a very affordable rate that PSWs could take, and doing it all within like a 1 to 2 day process where you just go through the courses and it's basically one and done, and then you can use that designation. I think that this, if you open yourself up. Like as many as you guys know, we have a lot of entrepreneurial PSWs. These are PSWs that work for themselves and their communities. They see clients, directly. It's a very popular way for home care.
It is.
It's evolving massively, especially over the last few years. But being able to put yourself out there to say, I am trained in autism care. I am a autism community support provider. I'm a PSW. I think a lot of families would jump on that, Ian.
So too. And I think we have to a lot of families the narrative currently is structured really heavily around the need for specific ABA services. So applied behavioral analysis. I forgive me, I don't know the exact title.
Well, ABA and IBI. So I'm going to be totally blunt and honest, and those are great for a lot of people, especially for the younger crowd. But I find that kind of drops off after the age of 12.
So,
It
yeah,
doesn't it
we've
it it doesn't really work after the age of 12, and so I kinda see the PSWs taking more so of a role for the teenagers,
yeah.
and the young adults that are in this space,
So
enabling them with, respite care, which where my son is currently, respite care, learning life skills, having that person to talk to. You don't need to have your therapy background in order just to listen, active
no,
listening.
and that's kind of what I was thinking of saying as well, is that there's a lot of the culture really is dominated by this IB this concept, and parents are encouraged, this is what you need. So if they look for the therapist that has that and that therapist is fully booked, then there's nothing. So there has to be a way to support that therapist community while also supporting the families we're not trying to compete with them, but take some pressure off. And the real key is respite. And respite's not just, let's talk a bit about respite care, because I think people get a little confused with what that is. So why is respite care important?
Respite care and I'm
Or
talking right now as a PSW and as a mother of a child with autism, a young adult with autism. Respite care enables a child to leave your home and gives your home an opportunity to breathe. Gives them a different environment, gives them a focus. The PSW, Catcher's PSW is phenomenal. And she really works with him on life skills, building a future that is realistic. Maybe slapping him in the face a few times with some reality.
not
That's my son's issue.
literally, not
Not
literally,
literally, not literally,
figuratively.
not literally at all. But I mean, and also enabling him to get out of the house. So he starts to build that independence. Now, that's my son who's extremely high functioning. Respite for other families that have a lower functioning autistic child, that could look at just giving mom and dad a break, or mom a break, or dad a break, or whoever their person is,
Whatever.
just giving them a chance to do some self care. At the end of the day, it's a lot for any caregiver, where it be, caring for your elderly loved ones, all the way to having a child or a young adult that has mental health or physical disabilities or whatever. It is exhausting. It is a 24/7 job. And that respite really gives that time to those parents or caregivers so that they can take care of themselves. And it also creates a better environment, especially when you're dealing with families that have other children that are in the home that may or may not have autism or some developmental disability, because you need to connect and take care of those family members as well. And so that's from my personal experiences. You guys, a lot of you guys know too, I have a 17-year-old daughter who is not autistic and is going for PSW next year, because I always have to throw that in.
Yeah.
But it's hard. It's a very hard situation to deal with. Having a loved one that has mental health issues and autism doesn't deplete our love for him at all. We all absolutely love Catcher to bits and pieces, but it gives that break where we're able to do a bit of self-care.
And I think that's important. I don't think our society and people in this situation and people not in this situation understand the impacts that compassion burnout and compassion exhaustion have on families.
Oh
Where
yeah.
it's expressing itself from I'm doing my best to I'm now resenting the way this is going. If you're finding yourself resenting things, this is when you realize you're in compassion burnout, which is completely normal. It's understandable, which is why
Yeah.
we hope that this role will enable some pressure to be taken off that offers something to individuals. And we do know PSWs can get this are eligible to get some of these monies from the
Oh,
government.
absolutely.
So
The direct funding will help with that. If you have respite service money, you can also get a pay for a PSW with that. And the PSW is far more affordable. So I will be completely transparent and I will say I pay catcher's PSW $25 an hour. So on the overnights, I do pay $195, $200 for the night. It's steep, but it's worth my mental health. And you guys could ask any one of the staff here at OPSWA about everything we've gone through with my son. Compassion burnout is a real thing. I'm currently in it, coming out of it, because I didn't have that support until his superhero PSW swooped in and understands and took over. It really is a wonderful village
if you could, yes, exactly.
if you can get that village. And PSWs can be really the star of that village for a lot of families across Ontario, because I see a lot of I see a lot of people comment, like I'm on a lot of the autism pages, and these poor moms and dads are absolutely exhausted, and they just need that little bit of understanding as well, because a lot of times, this is where I think PSWs really shine, is they PSWs just have this innate ability to understand the people they're caring for, but not only them, but understand their families and really connect with their families and give that kind of, it's okay to be tired. It's okay to have compassion burnout. It's okay to feel like you're at the end of your rope. And that's where PSWs can swoop in and become that person for that family.
It's a very grounding force to have a personal support worker. Of all personal support workers are they come from all walks of life. These are people that understand they have the same struggles that every family does. And they're dealing in reality and they're going to be dealing with some of our training and coming through that so that they'll be better prepared. Again, this relates almost everything we're doing right now relates to the concept of compassion burnout. We're
Mhm.
seeing it in the autistic community, especially the young parents, any age parent group dealing with this. It takes everything. I don't want to say it takes your family hostage, but it kind of does take the entire network of family care. It has to be adjusted
Yeah.
understandably and correctly. But what are the alternatives? Like what supports can we have to
Well, exactly. And how can they afford these things? And
well, yeah,
I mean, I'm not going to bash on the government at all.
no, God, this is not it.
No, this is not that, but it's just not meeting the criteria that everyone needs. And I think it's because they're not looking closer at the PSW. Like we said, all these PSWs are looking for work, and they're looking in long-term care, they're looking in hospital, they don't want to do home care, and I get about being picky, but at the
Yeah,
end of the day, your skill set as a personal support worker is vast.
it is.
And it does not have to just be in the hospital or long-term care homes. It can be in respite care for autistic youth
Absolutely.
and young adults. You can even Catcher's PSW also works with them throughout the day. Like you can find a family that has you in there every day
Well, let me
helping
ask
their loved one.
someone who's not personally dealing with an autistic child in my life. So when you're dealing, I guess the question is, do the therapist now? So the value of a therapist is one thing. They charge X amount of dollars for the same value of that therapist. You can get 4 hours worth of time from a PSW. So that's
Oh
the.
yeah.
But the other side of it is, I do not know, and correct me if I'm wrong. What practical life skills do therapists teach? I'm acting ignorant. I'm not
No,
trying to.
they don't. So a lot of the therapists, when they come in, they'll do assessments on the child, right? So they do assessments on the child and they go, okay, so let's say they have a speech delay. My son did. So my son saw a speech pathologist until he was about 6 years old, and then we couldn't shut him up. Once he started talking, he has not stopped talking since then, right? But then they also come in, like he had a wonderful therapist named Tanny from probably about the age of 9 till about 12, and she taught him the IBI kind of thing. And the IBI is very based off of, if you do this, you get this. If you do that, you get that. Let's put, a chart on the wall. It's kind of like the gold star thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that way.
If you brush your teeth, then all the days this week, you'll get something at the end of it or whatever. And that worked. That worked brilliantly. These therapists have wonderful ideas
Absolutely.
until they become a teenager. And then suddenly they're like, I don't want to do this anymore. At
Well,
least my son was. He very much, it did not work at
dude.
all after a certain age. And a lot of my friends have young sons as well, or had around the same age as Catcher, and they said the same thing. So that's where I really see a PSW stepping in, because when you're talking about life skills, the PSW can help do reminders for toileting. They can help do reminders for brushing their teeth. They can help do reminders for showering. They can help do reminders for a source of things. They can help them clean their room. They can do the gold star standard if that's what you want to do. All you gotta do is show the PSW.
They can do it. There's no,
They
it's
can
not,
they can do it. They can do it. That's why it's so
they can
diverse.
remember, and again, I think we forget this, PSWs that can act under delegation, and I don't know if a therapist can delegate to a PSW.
Yeah.
So then if they can, then the problem's solved. You just follow what the therapist says and carry out the process.
Yeah.
No
And
problem.
if there
Like
is no therapist, when you take our mastering autism course, we do talk about, things that you can do. So, like how do you curb behaviors? How do you get them to, like, let's say someone is they're nonverbal.
okay,
How do you communicate with a nonverbal autistic person?
good question.
How do you understand their cues?
Right.
There's a lot of things that we teach in the Mastering Autism course that will help the PSWs understand those things. But it's so similar. I don't want to say similar, wrong word. It kind of goes alongside kind of like dementia a little bit, because people become nonverbal a lot of them,
Yeah,
when
I
they
see what you're saying.
dementia,
Yeah,
and
right.
we use a lot of the same tools that you would with somebody who's nonverbal and autistic.
Very
I
good. Okay.
might get my butt handed to me for that, but that's kind of where I've used a lot. Like, I've worked with nonverbal autistic kids. I've worked with a lot of autistic kids over my career as well. And I found with the nonverbal, I used a lot of the cues that I learned when I worked in long-term care on a memory floor that actually worked with the nonverbal autistic. And
So,
remember, when you have autism, Ian, you just don't have autism. So autism is actually an umbrella
right. Okay.
over top of like bipolar, ADHD,
Yeah. Got it.
anxiety, depression. So you're dealing with a lot of different things. I mean, and the poor person that's dealing with it, because it's not easy in the least. But you're dealing with a lot of different facets, a lot of different things. And so the PSW has to be aware of that as well. And that's why we're doing this specialization of this delegation or
Yeah.
designation, where you get to understand those things.
Be prepared and be able to support this community easier and with some confidence, I think is hugely important.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we're rolling this out. We're just starting this. So we haven't actually launched it yet officially.
I think it's going to get launched as we're doing this. I think we're going to be looking for people that are interested in this. It will be on our
Soft launch
Facebook
then.
page. We're soft launching to see the interest, and then once we get an interest idea, then we will be putting it on our website. You will be able to purchase the bundle, and then once you become one, then you're going to get a special badge as well, aren't you, Ian?
We are, yes, and we are in the process of communicating with the Ministry of Community and Social Service. No, am I right?
Yeah,
MSCCSS, yes, and hopefully make them aware of some of the things we're doing and any suggestions they can have on how we can make this
I
better.
think Minister Parsa will love it. I really
I hope
do.
so. We're not, again. This isn't designed to hurt anyone. We're really just trying to
No,
assist the community, make this resource aware, and our plans, especially as we enter into 2026, which is coming soon.
I
Sorry.
can't believe it's coming
Yeah,
so
I
soon.
know. I just kidding me. I'm like, yeah, 7 weeks, 6 weeks.
Yes,
Wow.
yeah, exactly. So, I mean, for all the PSWs out there that want to go into this space, that want to make that. I mean, you make a difference every day as a PSW, but doing something like this to such a, I don't want to say like it's understaffed massively, the autism community, and but it's also the realization the families need to understand they can use a PSW as well.
That's another part of it. I don't think a lot of families realize that. And but they're also family. Okay, if I was a family looking for an autistic care worker, something like that, and I'm also simultaneously hearing that there's these long-term care shortages in the last 3 years, all these shortages, I wouldn't make the connection that a PSW would be able to help me because there's shortages.
And the
We're
PSW
not
has
in
always been
shortages,
put in the light. It's
but
always,
we're
but we're
not
not
short.
in shortages in
There's a
long-term care.
surplus of PSWs in Ontario.
Yeah, we are not in a shortage in long-term care.
No, 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 no.
No.
We are
So
there is no shortage in long-term care. There's more nurses than we've had. We have more nurses than we've ever had before in Ontario. We have more PSWs we've had ever before in Ontario. To be honest, resources to hire more nurses in long-term care is a waste because the College of Nurses themselves say that we've had so many that they don't quite get it. But we'll leave it there.
I don't really get it
I
either.
don't
That's a
get it
whole other
either. But anyway,
conversation.
this is a different conversation. But as for this program, please stay tuned. And we're gonna start launching soon.
I really hope that a lot of people are interested in this, honestly, because as like I said throughout this entire thing, as a mom of a young adult with autism,
Yeah,
I absolutely treasure and respect and love my PSW that deals with Catcher because she is the real deal. And she's been doing it for a very long time. And you can tell, but I think down the line, maybe we'll have some PSWs at work with autistic individuals that can come on and talk about it, maybe in a webinar if the PSWs are interested.
I wanted to give a shout out to Natasha's company because she's been
Yes, Journey Center of Grey up in Meaford, Ontario, where she does day supports day programs for young adults and adults with autism or developmental delays. And so we're really looking. So she's phenomenal. Natasha Bell, just for everyone who knows, was one of the leads of our COVID SWAT teams through COVID. She's won awards from us. She's a phenomenal PSW. She saw a need in her community in Meaford, Ontario, and she's really hit the ground running. They just had their 1 year anniversary a few months ago. She has, I think, 13 or 14 clients now up there, and she's really doing a great
huge.
job. I
It's
love seeing the
fantastic.
pictures. So if you guys want to find her, it's called Journey Center of
Oh,
Grey. Go follow her. She's phenomenal. And also, too, I want to announce that here in Cambridge, Ontario, within the next 3 months, um, I will be launching a center called Open Minds Cambridge for individuals, young adults and adults on the autism spectrum and developmental delays, very similar to Natasha's center up in Meaford, where it's going to be PSW led and PSW run. And we're going to be offering day programs and supports for those in Cambridge and surrounding areas. So I'm very excited for that as well, because we all know apparently Miranda has nothing else to do. I'm not busy. I had to take on a center as well, but I'm very excited about it. It's a family dream to do this. It's not for my son. Let me point that out. He's very happy where he is, but we saw the need, we saw the demand, and hopefully, I can see PSWs successfully slotting in to this area of care in
yeah.
Ontario. So,
If you're looking for a PSW shortage, it's in this area still.
oh, huge. I mean, 5 years. I couldn't believe that.
5-year wait list? What's the point?
5-year wait list. What's the
I have a
point?
3-year-old
Yeah.
teen. Yeah, it's what are you doing?
And for families that are watching this, if you know someone who's on the autism spectrum, if you have a loved one who's on the autism spectrum who needs supports, look for the personal support workers. Reach out to us if need be.
Please, and those who are interested, whether you're a family and whether you're looking to take the course, please reach out to us. We do have databases we're looking to formulate to start identifying this community and to make sure we support the right people. That's
Exactly, and that's what the care centers are all about.
exactly.
So it's gonna be great. We're starting a new wave of PSW, which is exciting. It is always exciting. I just love being able to do this because I don't ever want PSWs to think that you are firmly stuck in long-term care or home care or hospital and geriatric, where the PSW is so diverse, it is so flexible, you can work with anybody because your skill set is truly that diverse. So this has been a great chat, Ian. I think we did really well. Thanks everyone for joining us for yet again another PSW podcast. We're going to be doing things a bit differently after this today. I am not going to be going on TikTok for Q&A after this. I'm actually going to be hitting TikTok much later today, probably in the evening, where I'm going to be connecting on TikTok with our PSWs. So make sure to stay tuned in for that later this evening. Next Friday, we'll be back with yet again another PSW podcast. Remember, if you are not a member of the association, you are not protected. You need to become a member. So, all information is either in our profile on Facebook or our profile on TikTok. So, go have a look there as well. Ian, thank you again for joining
Likewise.
me.
It
I
was a
love
pleasure.
it. Great conversation. Have a wonderful Friday, everyone, and a wonderful weekend. And with that, I'm going to say, Op Sweat out.